Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Champions video. We have just a single card to talk about today, but I'm also going to give you an update on my Galaxy's Most Wanted campaign. So first up here, this comes from Tabletop Time Sinks. Fancy Flight has been sending out spoilers to various content creators. So this is from the Gamora deck, and it is the ally version of Drax. So in the Rocket deck, we got an ally version of Groot. In the Groot deck, we got an ally version of Rocket. It looks like we're going to be getting allied versions of the other Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So even if you're just playing as one of them, let's say you're playing a Star Lord, you're able to then play these allied versions of the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy to still kind of have a full Guardians lineup. So Drax, he's a neutral card. You can go into any deck. That's really kind of good as well because depending on no matter what aspect you're playing as or which character you're playing as, all the allies from these characters will be able to go into basically any build, even decks that are not Guardian specific. But I think with these, you're probably going to want them in Guardians decks. So 3 resources. He generates a physical resource if you discard him. Let's see. 1 thwart with 1 consequential damage. 3 attack with 1 consequential damage. 4 hit points. He's a guardian. Play only if your identity has the guardian trait. And Drax cannot attack minions. So not so great thwart. I mean, you wouldn't expect that from Drax anyway. But pretty strong attack for just 1 damage when he attacks. He has 4 health. So you're going to be able to remove up to, or not remove, but deal 12 damage with him, depending on what you like, who you attack, and kind of if you don't do any kind of like blocking or anything like that. So he can only attack the villain, which is very thematic because he's like even in the first movie, he's basically just kind of like laser focused on going after. I think it was when the first movie it was Ronan, but also Thanos because Ronan was working with Thanos, that kind of thing. So doesn't really care about the minions, but can do a ton of damage to the villains. And then you can do something to like bring. You can play cards that allow you to recur your minions. Depending if you're playing Justice, you can use like something like Make the Call. Basically, play him, do all the damage you can with him, which is 12. He gets discarded. You can use Make the Call, which allows you to basically play him out of your discard pile. Even with something like Rapid Response, he comes back with 3 hit points, and it can then still do 9 damage. So definitely a ton of damage. Not so great thwart. And basically, I believe you need to be, depending on who you're playing as, you'll need to be in hero form to play him because a lot of the Guardian characters don't have Guardian trait on their alter ego side. It's mostly on their hero side. It's kind of weird because the Guardians aren't really, they don't really have alter egos almost. It's not like Peter Parker where he's Spider-Man where he's basically like kind of just wandering around the city as Peter Parker, just doing stuff that a kid does. Um, so they're not really trying to keep their identity secret. So it's kind of like a interesting kind of design choice to make them only to have those hero sides or the alter ego sides not have Guardian as a trait. But once you flip over to your hero form, they'll basically all have Guardian, and then you can play them. So Drax looks really interesting. We're now going to move into some talk about my Galaxy's Most Wanted campaign. A little quick recap. It's not going particularly well. I am still on the first collector scenario. I think I've tried it like 3 times. Tried it with Rocket twice, and then tried it with Captain America, and it's a pretty brutal scenario. So basically, like every time you have a player card that gets discarded from like I think it's for the players, it's like upgrades, allies, things you basically play and leave play. Like for example, you playing with Rocket is really bad because you can't really use his scrapping ability. I mean, you can, but if you do it, you're going to be giving cards to the collector to basically just keep. So scrapping allows you to discard tech upgrades to draw cards. But the thing is, as soon as you discard a tech upgrade from play, instead of going to your discard pile, it goes to the collection, and then you have to pay to get it out of the collection by exhausting your character or by paying resources. So I've never really lost based on damage from the collector. It's always been threat from the scheme going off because I think like in 2 of the Rocket games I played, I got Shadows of the Past in both games, and I believe his villain or Nemesis has I don't know if it was Quick Strike or Villainous. It may have been both. But basically, Quick Strike means they engage right away. Villainous means they get a boost card when they activate. So normally minions just attack and they do whatever their base thwart or attack is. So like if it's two attack, they come in, they do 2 damage, and that's it. But with cards that have Villainous, they come in, they get a boost card for doing 2 damage plus whatever's on the boost. So in both the games of Rocket, I was getting attacked by both the Collector. I ended up getting down to stage 2 with the Collector, where he's got his attack is I think it's like 2 and 2, and then it goes up to 3 and 2. So 2 thwart, 2 attack, up to like 3 thwart and 2 attack or something like that. And I'm not really sure exactly, but there's one turn where Rocket was had a decent amount of health, and then both Blackjack O'Hare and the Collector attacked. They both got boost cards, and then Blackjack O'Hare's side scheme, I think it comes in with a couple of threat on it, but it has the new symbol, which is I think it's like called Amplify maybe, or basically what it does is if you have that symbol in play, whenever you count boost icons, it gives cards a +1 boost icon. So if you draw a card with 0 boost, normally it doesn't have any effect. But with this particular scheme in play or this particular like symbol in play, it becomes a 1. So there was I think like one time I discarded a 2 or flipped over a card for a boost that had a 2 on it. That became a 3. Blackjack O'Hare did the same thing, got another 2, so that ended up being like 6 damage. I think no, it was like 3 from the 2 from the Collector, 3 from the boost, so 5 damage there, plus 2 from O'Hare and like 3 from the other, or 2 or 3 from the other boost. So it was enough to like basically drop Rocket in like one turn. The next game, very similar thing happened where Blackjack O'Hare came out. I ended up losing to Threat on the scheme because I was trying to remove Threat, but basically, and I wasn't even going after the campaign specific plot because that one comes in with, I think it comes in with 3, it hinders 3, which means it comes in with 3 additional, basically 3 additional threat on it that you had to get rid of, and then like basically I was just kept getting threat onto the main scheme. I tried to like heal one time when I flipped to alter ego mode, alter ego form to heal. They were just able to scheme. Him and Blackjack O'Hare were able to scheme for like 5 or 6 additional threat. So that was pretty brutal. I tried with Captain America and got him down pretty quick to stage 2, but then Psionic Ghost kept coming into play. So they're part of Collector's Encounter deck, and they basically are a 2 scheme, 2 attack minion. But like one of them came in as a boost. Normally, if it comes in as a boost, it would just have the boost symbols on it, and that was it. But it comes into play with a star icon, so it says basically once it comes into play, it basically it boosts it when it boosts, it basically comes out. It comes into play. So I had that happen twice in the game of Captain America, and I got rid of one of them. The other one came out, and then the Collector was doing a lot of damage with just various attacks and things like that. I was in alter ego mode at one point to try to recover some health with Captain America, and this is actually a stun deck, so one of the stun lock decks, and it did well getting him down from stage 1 to stage 2, but once stage 2 hit, when his scheme goes up to 3, I think there was like I had to flip into alter ego mode or I was gonna lose. So I flipped to alter ego mode, and then he schemed for like the ghost scheme for 2, and the Collector scheme for like 4 or something like that. And there's already like 4 threat on there, and that one goes off, I believe, at 10 threat per player or 5 cards in the collection. I only had a couple cards in the collection, so I had the first Psionic Ghost was in there, and then the Collector has these artifacts that really kind of mess with things as well. So there was one that it's like I forget exactly what it's called, but gives your character basically -1 on all their abilities. So -1 thwart, -1 attack, -1 defense. You had to spend 2 mental resources to get rid of it, but once you get rid of it, it goes right to the collection. So you had to be really careful about trying to get stuff out of the collection. Usually, if there's something in the collection that's like part of the collector's deck, I don't really bother with it unless there's like a lot of them. But I had at one point did these thing where there was a once you get to stage 2 of the collector, you can either take 3 damage or put the top card of your deck in the collection. And I didn't want to take the damage, so I put the top card of my deck in my collection, and it ended up being one of my Super Soldier Serums, which is a keyed card in the Captain America deck, because it generates physical resources when you exhaust it. And a lot of the cards I have in this deck are dependent on if a physical resource was used to and basically play this card, it'll do additional effects. So like Heroic Strike uses it, where Heroic Strike is 3 resources, deal 6 damage. If you use a physical resource, it also stuns the villain. Tackle is a very similar card where comes in, does 3 damage, but if you use a physical resource, it also stuns the enemy as well. So a lot of cards in that deck require that resource. So losing one of those Super Soldier Serums to the collection was rough, because if you get the card back out of to get it out of the collection, you have to spend 2 resources or exhaust your character. And then once you get it out of the collection, it goes right to your discard pile. So unless you have a way to get it back out of your discard pile, then that's a card that you may or may not see the rest of that game. Luckily, on my next turn, I was able to draw the Super Soldier Serum, but at that point, there was already a lot of threat on the scheme. I was already down to like 2 or 3 health. That's why I had to flip over, and then ended up losing right after that. So I'm gonna probably wait and hold off until more of the Guardians come out. I might try building either a Star Lord or Gamora deck. Maybe start the campaign over with them. See if I have any better luck. Didn't have that much trouble with the first scenario, but the collector scenario is pretty brutal. And then haven't really heard a whole lot about the second collector scenario, which is Escape the Museum. So Infiltrate the Museum is what I'm on now. Then there's Escape the Museum, and then there is the Nebula and Ronan encounters, which I heard in solo play at least are very, very tough. So hopefully I'm going to go back once Star-Lord comes out, maybe once Gamora comes out, build the deck with that. Maybe try with Drax once he comes out, whenever he gets released. But that's basically what I've been up to with the game. Just been trying to mess around with the scenarios, and then that's about it. So that's just a quick update on my campaign. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can check out the article on this particular Drax ally card. That's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching, and take care.